Hello, I'm Dr. Archer Crosley, and welcome to Real World Pediatrics. So let's talk about family meals. Now, one of the things a family can do to be successful or more successful is to eat at least one meal per day together. Now, it may not look like much, but it'll work wonders. Now, I understand that mom and dad may work at different hours. Still, you should try to get together. That meal where everyone gets together is the family meeting, and it has several purposes. Number one, it lets your children know that you care about them. Number two, it gives you time to keep an eye on your kids to find out how they're doing in school so that you can address problems that they may have. Number three, it enforces some discipline on the kids. Number four, it lets your kids know that there are going to be obligations in this world and that they're going to have to meet them. And number five, it promotes a certain amount of security in children. Now, here's what Google AI has to say. Eating together as a family offers numerous benefits, including stronger family bonds, improved communication, and healthier eating habits. It promotes a dedicated time for connection, fostering a sense of belonging and shared experience. Furthermore, family meals can positively influence a child's development, academic performance, and mental well-being. Now, here's a more detailed look at the value of family meals, and I'll put these on the screen for you. Increased connection, sense of belonging, improved communication, better academic performance, healthier eating habits, improved mental health, increased self-esteem. Now, as the family grows older, there's this temptation for members of the family to go their own way. Circumstances may change in the family, which will pull the family apart. Try to resist being pulled apart. Try not to have everybody go their own way and eat by themselves in front of a television set. Now, that's what happened to our family after my dad died and my mom remarried. If families don't do anything together, then what you have is a collection of individuals, not a family. Now, it's not asking too much for kids to get together and eat for 15 to 20 minutes a day. Older kids may rebel. Too bad. There's a lot of value in knowing that you belong somewhere. And it's a good time to tell stories, to share experiences. And some of your best memories are going to come out of that dinner table. Okay, so when I was a kid, I was a picky eater. A lot of kids are. And basically, I didn't like a lot of stuff my mother cooked. And I would throw a fit over that. That's just the way it was. My mother had this thing about nutmeg. She used to put nutmeg on everything. And she would put it on cottage cheese. And, for what? I guess for aesthetics. Because it sure didn't make it taste better. And I would go ballistic over that. It's not that it tasted bad, it just bothered me. And these were the days when moms prepared a lot of weird stuff. That's one good thing about the world we live in today. The food is much better. Food was really mediocre back then, almost inedible. And my mom made a lot of inedible stuff. She gravitated toward the weird and the inedible. Stuff like liver and Brussels sprouts. My dad liked Brussels sprouts. And then there was more traditional stuff like cauliflower and broccoli, which I still loathe to this day. I threw a fit at the dinner table once over pork chops, and I guess it must have made an impression on my sister because she wrote about it for her English class. And I guess everyone else in the class must have liked it. I don't really remember the episode in detail, but it must have been significant because people in our family still talk about it. And I guess it's stuff like that bind the family together. It's a shared experience. And I'll tell you, I would argue at the dinner table a lot. Now, my parents weren't like that at all. So I figured I must have been adopted. And I would ask my mom, I'd say, was I adopted? And she would look at me and she'd say, no. Why would you ask such a thing? And I'd say back to her, well, I don't know, I mean, nobody in this family seems to think the way I do. We don't even like the same food. And that was true. Everybody in my family loves seafood. Not me. I wouldn't touch the stuff with a 10-foot pole. I still won't. I can't stand the smell of it. And I would fight and resist that at the dinner table. Especially when my mother would serve these absolutely horrible Mrs. Pole's fish sticks. They were frozen fish sticks. And you know what? They still sell them. But it was even worse than that. We used to go to this restaurant in Ocean City, New Jersey. It was called Morrison's, which everybody liked. And it was a seafood restaurant. And I would sit there and suffer as my mother and everyone else in the family would take these greasy clams on the half shell. And then they tilt their heads back and let these globs of rubber slither down their throat. There was no way I was going to let that alien get into my stomach. Well, after hearing me argue, my dad, he looked at me one day and he said, "Kid," he said, "you need to be a lawyer when you grow up." And I argued with him about that. Looking back, I think he was right in the sense of me being an oppositional sort of person. And it's that kind of interaction that kids need when they're growing up so that they can find themselves in life. The dinner table is where kids are going to learn skills, receive advice, and develop a sense of belonging to their family and find themselves in this world. They're not going to learn nearly as much sitting alone in front of a television set. So, eat a family meal together. Thank you.